So he sought out another arrangement and ended up studying at Rav Kook's yeshiva. In Pirkei Avos, chapter 1, verse 6, it says, "Provide yourself with a teacher and acquire yourself a companion." Well, my father got himself one heck of a study partner in the person of Shlomo Goren, who went on to become a paratrooper, a general, a chaplain, a halachic expert, and eventually the first chief rabbi of the IDF. Many years later, when my parents were in Israel for a rabbinical assembly convention, Rabbi General Gordon visited them at their hotel. Dad joined the Haganah, and although he never took part in any fighting, he did learn how to throw a grenade, overhand, with full arm extension. He stood guard on occasion. He commented to me that he never felt so cold as when standing guard, and that feeling was from fear, since the weather was not at all harsh for someone used to winters in the American Midwest. I have a picture of him wearing tefillin and davening with a Sten gun around his neck. I'll show it around during Kiddush. Dad was present during the siege of Jerusalem from February through April 1948, when the Arab militias blockaded the corridor from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. During that period, only a trickle of supplies made it through, in small caravans, under the cover of darkness. He said that they ran out of food for the cows, so they resorted to feeding them what they did have in abundance, oranges. And after a few days, the milk began to taste like orange juice. When Menachem Begin became Prime Minister of Israel in 1977, with his history of leadership in the radical Irgun, I asked my father if he had ever met him. His response was typical. He said he did meet Begin once or twice, and that he was, and I quote, "a hot-headed kid." Finally, one last anecdote. My father always kept lots of detailed records of everything. I've mentioned before that all of his sermons are written out longhand on 3x5 pads, and that I own that treasure trove. Also, I once found a card in his wallet with all of my mother's clothes sizes, so that when he bought her a gift, it would fit. I have books of notes he took at meetings, at conventions, and even while reading books and periodicals. And now the correction. I misinformed Rabbi Cantor about the bombing of the King David Hotel. While checking my own facts, I like to be accurate, I discovered that the hotel bombing was in 1946, well before my father arrived. So I reviewed the home movies I have from Dad's time in Israel. He wrote down the contents of each reel on a small card kept in each film canister. And I found that the movie of smoke rising above the city of Jerusalem was actually from the bombing of the Palestine Post newspaper. The Palestine Post was a daily English language newspaper, and it was bombed on February 1st, 1948. It's impressive that even on the day of the bombing, they still managed to put out a one-page issue. And Dad collected every issue of that paper from the day he arrived until the day he left. Anyway, back to the story. Dad kept a diary while in Israel. Among all of the mundane, day-to-day events he recorded was a series of episodes describing the trials he went through to retrieve a refrigerator that his mother had sent him. He had to pay duty, fill out forms, grease palms, that is to say, pay bribes, and submit written requests over a period of months. Well, one day, several years ago, I was wasting time online and did a Google search on my father. Among the items which popped up between congregational newsletters, a letter he wrote to Illinois Senator Everett Dirksen, a speech he delivered at the dedication of a military arsenal in Rock Island, Illinois, his marriage announcement, newspaper articles, and several obituaries, I found a record of a petition from a Mr. Taxon to retrieve his shipment from impound in Palestine in 1948. Amazing what you can find on the